And we're back. Part two of Google Ads frequently asked questions plus their answers. David Feldman-Makrias as usual. So, part two, we're going to cover the next few questions. In the first part, we covered how much does Google Ads cost and what should my budget be. We also took a look at what Google Ads look like by network. So, a lot of different items there. If you haven't seen that video, feel free to look at it right now above. And now we're going to get into a few of the other common questions I hear all the time and their answers. So I imagine this is going to be a shorter video. There's going to be one more video after this to wrap it up, but it's pretty straightforward, and we're going to get into it right meow. So how can I measure performance? So when I think of performance, there's only two types of businesses that we serve typically, and it's either getting leads or getting online sales. That's pretty much it. And I I know there's other types of businesses, but I mean you can literally fit them all into that category. E-commerce is revenue and everything else is a lead. So when our ultimate goal is to provide revenue, if it's an e-commerce business, and help influence revenue, or drive leads for businesses that need leads, whether it be local businesses, software as a service companies, what have you. That's the ultimate goal. So, with that, what do we do to measure that? Well, the first thing being conversions. And it's very interesting. It's actually, I looked at two accounts in the past week from very intelligent people, right? And they were learning Google Ads on their own. But the Google Ads interface has just become so complex, so complicated. The campaign structure of how they want you to set things up is so intricate. If you don't know every little setting and you don't know every little, micro nuance of the campaign configuration, you could be very, very easily mixed up, confused, think you're doing the right thing, but actually it could cost you a lot of money. So the reason I say that is because measuring performance, that's how everything should start. So the simple answer to this is, how can I measure performance? Start with conversions. Conversions is the top priority. What this looks like, examples are either revenue, which would be conversion value, or leads, which would be conversions, right? So that you actually have to set up in your Google Ads account, and it has to be done correctly. Oftentimes, I see conversions misconfigured, not set up correctly. I was just looking at a video or a video campaign of an account I was auditing recently, and he had website purchases as his conversion. Problem was the landing page that he owned. This is a somebody running affiliate ads. The landing page that he owned actually didn't have a purchase conversion on it. You couldn't buy the product on that landing page, and that's the only page he had access to, right? So with that, it's like, okay, that's not really a purchase then. That's a page view or a button click to view the next step of the page. You have to know what the next best conversion is in the process, right? So where does this stem from? Let me show an example. Here's the example in question. This is actually an e-commerce situation, an e-commerce example, and we have plenty of campaigns in here. Over this course of time, this account has spent $62,000. It's about a month span of time, so it's a well budgeted account, has a lot of spend in it. And I want to show the example of the measuring performance is really here. This is, I have some of the conversion actions broken out, but I'm blurring them out for the privacy of the client. But what we can see here is in this time period, we generated this column here, conversion value, which is associated with revenue of almost $76,000 in revenue. Okay. Now, that is just from one type of campaign. We also have another purchase action here of $131,000 in revenue. So we actually have multiple ways of revenue tracking. And we're doing that to experiment which conversion tracking is working the best. Not all conversion tracking is created equal, and it's becoming less and less reliable in Google Ads moving forward. We don't necessarily see revenues stay consistent inside the Google Ads platform as we once did. So this is the best thing that we use inside the Google Ads platform, and you need to use it because all of Google's bid strategies, automations, machine learning heavily relies upon conversions. And the main conversion in this account is purchases. We also have add to carts. We also have begin checkouts. But the big one, the big dollar one, is the actual purchase. And this shows $140,000 actually for a $60,000 investment. Interestingly enough, it looks like I'm looking at multiple conversion value tracking. That's where you actually have to go to the top and add it up. It shows $207,000 for a cost of $62,000, which leads to a 332% return on ad spend, right? So you start there. Now, I have my columns organized very specifically. It all starts with revenue and works my way backwards in terms of priority of performance. So this is still measuring performance. I like to look at the most important thing first, right? What's the revenue? What's the cost? And then I go, as I scroll from left to right, I'll get into more things that are still important, but they just backtrack to see how we can fine tune and increase the overall primary result. Primary result is revenue, cost, and return on ad spend, right? So then we have conversions here. It shows we have, depending upon my filtering, there's different types of campaigns in here. There's actually some lead gen campaigns as well as some revenue campaigns. So the revenue campaigns generated about 1,400 purchases. And then there are some other lead gen campaigns, which throws this number to 3,200. But that's what we're looking at too. How many actual purchases happened, right? And then we could see the cost per acquisition of that purchase, so on and so forth. Those are the main things that business owners should care about. And those are the main things that you should report on in your executive summary and anything first. That's how we measure it, right? So it's conversions. It's conversions. But the big part of it is making sure your conversions are set up, and not all conversions are made equal. And with Google changing a bunch of different ways that they're tracking, and just the Google Ads conversion tracking becoming more and more deprecated and less reliable, that's why we're tracking multiple types of conversions. If you want any help with determining which conversions or what type of conversions you should track, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to actually give feedback on examples, because even if you don't have a direct correlation to revenue, we could still map out conversion tracking to help your campaigns learn and grow and do better. That's exactly what we do and what we do best. So anyways, as we scroll from left to right here, we can see what I call vanity metrics, meaning all these metrics like conversion rate, interactions, average cost, impressions, interaction rate, impression share, so on and so forth. Those are all going to be what I call vanity metrics. And all of those vanity metrics, they are, as we scroll to the right, they're less and less important. They're all still necessary, but they all lead up to helping us decide how we can improve our primary performance metrics, which in this case is conversion value by time, cost, and conversion value over cost. Conversions is another primary metric, but I mean, for this example, it's still important. I would label it as primary, but after that, it really doesn't matter. So it really just comes down to purchases and revenue in that amount, and then you just work it backwards from there. That's how you measure performance. If somebody's trying to say, well, you got clicks and you got impressions and you got this and that, CTR, impression share, I think that it depends on your goal, of course. Like if you're doing an awareness goal, sometimes impression share is the right goal to have. It depends on what you're actually trying to accomplish. For example, automotive tier 2 and tier 1, their impression share actually I think is pretty relevant because that's their job is to push awareness, not necessarily lead to direct sales. So in that instance, it's better. But again, defining the primary metric. And the primary metric should be the lowest hanging fruit or should be the main objective of whatever your business is: sales, leads, what have you. Everything else, if you hear any other metrics like clicks, impressions, impression share in most cases, interaction rates, I mean, no, it doesn't really matter, right? Again, dependent upon the actual campaign's goals and what objectives you're trying to achieve. But in most small to medium sized businesses, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so that talks about how you can measure performance. Looks like I spelled this wrong. Conversions. So then, vanity metrics are important, but not the most important. Should be known mostly by marketing team, not necessarily end user and client key stakeholder. Includes, i.e., clicks, impressions, CTR, interaction rate, impression share. Impression share, maybe that can go either way because that helps evaluating how you do against competition. So I get that part, but in most instances, it's going to be conversions and conversion value. That's it. Next question. How does it, meaning Google Ads, compare to SEO? All right. So let's take an example. Let's take this Ford Transit, new Ford Transit for sale. If we go to new Ford Transit for sale, doesn't show the shopping ads anymore. Now, it doesn't have to though. Anything that says sponsored here is a Google ad. The simplest context is Google Ads and SEO are different because Google Ads you have to pay Google for on a cost per click basis. SEO is search engine optimization, but oftentimes it's synonymous with organic search results, meaning non-sponsored, meaning you're not paying Google for a cost per click basis. You're doing things like content building, site infrastructure, design. You could do offsite. I'm not a huge fan of it, backlinks and things like that, because 95% of people that do backlinks, I think, do them wrong, and it's a lot more cumbersome than it looks. But again, SEO is organic Google. You could think of it as organic Google and the strategies to help your organic ranking. So let's define that. Google Ads, you pay Google for ad placement, cost per click basis typically, and it will say sponsored, just like it does down here. SEO refers to organic Google listings, Google search results. You do not pay Google. You do not pay Google to rank your listings. You use tactics in SEO to optimize your pages, your website, your backlinks to increase search traffic and results. So, example, when I type in new Ford Transit for sale, I actually did not get any sponsored ad. Interestingly enough, probably because Google's smart about it, it knows I looked up new Ford Transit for sale at some point in time in the past. So, and I didn't click on any ads. So now it's just showing me organic listings. It's showing me Car Gurus. I can see it's not sponsored. It shows me, Edmunds, True Car, so some third-party listings for the automotive sector. And how do you get good SEO? I mean, that's how do you get organic ranking to pop up? Well, there's a lot of things that go into it. There's authority, there's relevance, um, there's value. I'm not going to get into SEO as much, but the main thing to note is that Google Ads or PPC. I'll say here's another thing. Synonyms: Google Ads, PPC, pay per click, SEM, which is search engine marketing. All of that is synonymous. Now, the only thing that's not really right is SEM. I don't define SEM as paid Google. Here's another one: paid search. I like saying paid search. It makes the most sense because search means search engine, but you're paying for ads, so it's paid search. SEO, if we look up synonyms, oops, what did I do? If we do synonyms, I mean synonyms. Organic search. Let's see. Organic search. There really isn't any other synonym besides that. Organic search, search listings. But SEO has a lot of different terms. This video, I don't want it to make about SEO. Just note that SEO you don't have to pay for. Google Ads and PPC you do have to pay for. I don't like defining SEM as paid Google Ads or paid search. I don't really like defining that as that. Typically, if we really want to get like technical, SEM, why did that happen? SEM is search engine marketing, and SEM covers paid search and organic search because search engine marketing is the umbrella. That's the way I think about it. It makes the most sense, but a lot of people think that SEM is paid Google Ads or paid search. So this best synonym is just paid search. Because then that covers Bing and Yahoo and other ones too, if you want to get into that. And then for organic Google, it's just organic search. Pretty easy to think about. One you pay for, one you pay Google for, one you don't. Some differences too is Google Ads. I'm going to say once you pay. No, not once you pay. It's a faster result. Your ad can show up today. If you really wanted to and you just get started, didn't have anything, you could make your ad show up today. With SEO or with organic search, your ad may not show today, but with proper procedures, your free listing will come up over time. Could be anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months or more. It really just depends on the industry. It depends on a lot of things. Industry, competition, volume, quality of website, quality of content, all that good stuff. If it's a local business, e-commerce business, what have you. But the main thing is Google Ads, you pay for, it's what's called paid search, and organic search, oftentimes related to SEO, you don't pay Google for. You might pay a freelancer, you might pay a company to help with your SEO, but you're not going to pay Google directly. in paid search or Google Ads, you're going to pay Google directly in the form of cost per click. So that's that. All right. This is Market Blue. What is the best average cost per click? Good question. Depends on the industry. Here's some examples. Local businesses with lower competition, I see, from $2.50 to $5. This would be, car dealers is one of them. Salons is another. Can be plumbers and things like that, but I see the price of them going up. I see 10, 15, 20, other local businesses, plumber, let's say 10 to 15. And this is average CPC. And I'm speculating here. Plumber, electrician, IT, consultant, and then lawyer. I don't like how we do this. We'll just say examples, local business. And we'll do the ranges. 20 to 40. Average CPC, lawyers. That's a common one. But really, how do you know? I'm going to say it's always changing and adjusting. So how do we know? One way to do it is Google Keyword Planner. Let me show you that now. All right, so I just went into the Keyword Planner just to show a couple of examples. And I'm looking at broad search terms too, which I'm not going to get into keywords and I should say broad keywords. I'm not going to get into keywords and search terms right now. I just want to show you some examples. So when I come into the Keyword Planner, it automatically defaults, at least in my country, to the United States. It defaults to the last calendar year. And I just typed in car dealer, divorce lawyer, electrician, plates for sale, and plumber, right? So you can see this thing right here, top of page bid. Bid, again, refers to cost per click. So you have the top of page bid low and the top of page bid high. These are just the different ranges. So for car dealer, it's anywhere from $2 to $6 plus. For divorce lawyer, it's anywhere from $3 to $26. For electrician, it's $6 to $40. When it's plates for sale, it's 35 cents to $2.39. Plumbers, 15 to 62. So to give a range on what the best cost per click is, it really depends on your industry, so on and so forth. Honestly, when people ask me this question, I'll ask, do you run Google Ads already, or have you run PPC in the past? And what is your best cost per click metric? Usually people refer to cost per click, but honestly, that metric, it's important, but it doesn't really matter as much anymore. You want cost per conversion. You want conversion value over cost. You want those metrics because, again, what are you using to evaluate performance? We're not looking at clicks as much anymore. We have conversion tracking. So we need to evaluate the most important metric first. So let me ask you, if you're paying $10 a click and you think that is too high, right? But you're getting a bunch of conversions and a bunch of sales. Do you really care how much your click cost is? Maybe to optimize and fine tune, but if you're yielding a positive, return on investment, return on ad spend, then it really doesn't matter what the cost per click is, right? You always want to get it lower, and that's the marketer's job. But again, it really doesn't matter because that's not the area of focus. I oftentimes see when Google, we switch to maximize conversions for bid strategies, our cost per clicks go through the roof, but so do our conversions in most cases, and it really doesn't matter. So that gives you different ranges. I would say you have to have some historical data to know. I wouldn't even trust these ranges verbatim, because you really just don't know until you run a campaign. But this can give you an idea, so you can expect it. I'd take an average in between and then test. So let's see what else we got. So that takes care of average cost per click. We went through how we can measure performance, how does it Google Ads compare to SEO, and what is the best average cost per click. It's really just what is the answer to that is depends on the industry. Your average cost per click is the best as long as it's lower. Like just try and keep it lower and lower and lower, right? Try and get your cost per click as low as possible, depending upon, as long as you're getting a healthy amount of conversions. So hopefully that helps. This wraps up part 2. And then in part 3, we will talk about the final 3 questions: how to track competition, how come I can't see my ad, and what is a reasonable ROI. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. Comments are always appreciated as far as feedback. And I will see you in part 3 and in more videos. David Feldman-Makrias. Talk to you soon.